All right, welcome back on Africa Business Radio. We're getting into a very interesting part of the show, and that's a guest segment for today. And I've got someone very, very interesting with me in the studio. Just a brief introduction now. She is a software engineer at Microsoft Mixed Reality, based here in Lagos, Nigeria. And we'll be talking upscaling a 21st century software engineering. I've got the person of Adora Nwodo with me in the studio. Hello, good morning. Good to have you here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's good to know you were able to find your way here. The weather wasn't really friendly this morning, so thank you for, finding your way in here. All right, so just to start our conversation now, I know it's going to be a bit too much or even a bit presumptuous to try to characterize both the past and the future of software engineering in this very brief conversation that we're going to have. However, I understand that there are many, types of software engineering. And I'd like you to explain to us, how software engineering has changed significantly over the years, the experiences, the changes that this space have experienced over the years.
To talk about the change that software engineering has had over the years is to talk about the change that has come in the era of technology over the years. When you're talking about innovation, if we go down the history of computing, if we go down the history of computers, if we go down the history of the internet, you'd see that things have been evolving from the times where we had like mainframe computers to the desktops that we had, to mobile devices, and now people are doing a bunch of things with AR and VR, and there's also the internet. So as these things come, as this new era comes, we need software engineers to build for these new devices that are being built. And that in some way is what is driving. So the evolution of software engineering as a career is sort of tied to the innovation that comes with technology in general. There are blockchain engineers today because of how serious blockchain technology is becoming. There are AR/VR engineers today because of how serious spatial computing is becoming. There are cloud engineers today because of cloud computing and Amazon Web Services and Azure and GCP and all of that stuff. And all these things exist. As the innovation comes, there's a demand for this particular skill set, and then this new thing is created and people learn this skill and they start building. Yes.
Amazing. All right. At this time let me just use 2021 now, because I think 2020 pulled us out of, it seems like it took out a log in our eyes, like the logs fell off and we saw, are we this way behind in tech? See how much we can do with technology, it taught us a whole lot. There's so many things. The simplest thing, let's say Zoom. Assuming the pandemic did not come, a lot of us would not even be concerned about how to use Zoom. So this is just like the smallest kind of, innovation that we've been able to adapt over the years. And right now, people would argue that, for you to get a job or get a good job, get a good paying job, you need a particular set of tech skill. Which brings me to my next question now. Will there be like a demand? Will there be like an increased demand for skilled software developers as we look into the future? Because I've had so many tech persons join me for conversations, and time and again they would say this skill or that skill is what you need to scale through in the job market now. So based on what you do, is there going to be like an increased demand for skilled software developers?
I believe that there would be. I think that we haven't even gotten to the point where everybody is saying that, oh yes, we need tech talent. I'm of the opinion that we haven't started looking for tech talent right now, because a time would come where, and when I say tech talent, I'm not just only talking about people in engineering, right? There are data scientists as well. There are people in DevOps as well. There are program managers or product managers as well. There are a lot of people that make tech what you see tech as. And because now, like you said, right, the pandemic, which still exists by the way, but 2020 was the year that removed that log from our eyes. Sure. It's like we're blind before and we can suddenly see. And between then and now, I've seen a lot of startups come up. I've seen a lot of people raise money because they want to do really creative and innovative things, and there will be more people. And when these people find problems that they want to solve, they're going to want to hire engineers. And as much as you are going to hire people that exist in other companies and you're going to poach talent once in a while and people move, the truth is people would retire. People that also work in some of these companies will decide to leave to go solve their own problem. So there's going to still be that hunger and that need for more software engineers, and it's not going to stop anytime soon, I believe.
Nice. So I was going through your bio and I saw a lot of really catchy stuff. First off, I saw your Adora hack thingy that you do. You started in 2018. That's your blog where you publish articles on software engineering, productivity, and career growth. That's not all. In June 2019, you also created a YouTube channel for Adora Hack where you post tech content that could be useful to software developers. I want to ask now, do you have like a computer science background? I'm saying this because I know some persons are listening and they're like, okay, I want to do all of this stuff, but do I need to have like a computer-based background to even do all of this?
Okay, I'm going to answer the first question that you asked, which is if I have a CS background. I do. And I'm going to answer the second question, which is, do you need a CS background to do tech stuff? You don't.
Oh, okay.
So at the end of the day, most of all these things can be learned with courses. Most of all these things you do can be learned on the job. The most important thing is having that mind and being someone that wants to learn. At the end of the day, teachability is the most important thing. You can learn and unlearn stuff. You just want to be able to learn. You just have to want to be able to learn. And the thing about this field that we're in is that I know a lot of amazing people, even my colleagues at the office, for example, that didn't study computer science, but they wanted to get into tech. They went to one boot camp. After that, they got a job that would allow them build and expand their knowledge and make their resume more attractive and make sense. And then after a few years, boom, they're landing like really great jobs. So at the end of the day, it depends on, yes, the school is really great, don't get me wrong. I would always advise people to go to school, regardless of whatever it is that you study. I would always advise you to go to school and get that bachelor's degree, because you're already at a disadvantage because you're a black person. Don't add more disadvantages to yourself because, you're a black dropout. Then you become a stereotype, which is what we're trying to fight right now. But at this point, we haven't finished fighting it yet. So don't be one of those people that we start to fight for. Yeah. So I'll advise you to go to school. If, however, you're one of those people that went to school and studied something like microbiology or architecture and somehow you want to switch to tech, it's not difficult, really. Like I said, all you need to do is have that mindset of being teachable and have a growth mindset, and you will learn the things that would get you to the point where you can get really great tech jobs.
Right. Now, this might not be about someone who's listening. It could just be about the person that's talking to you right now. Yeah. So I'm going to ask you another question. How many females, or how much of females do we have in this space?
That's a funny question because I don't have the right answer to that question because it's a statistic that is not in my head at the moment. But I can say that they are not as much as I would want them to be. That's all I can say for now.
So what's your picture like for like a perfect stat when it comes to participation in your space, sex participation in your space?
I want that balance. Like, I want to be able to walk into an office and I see a 50-50 ratio. I want that balance. I walk into some offices and they're trying to be deliberate about hiring female talent. But what this means is that because there's scarcity of female talent in general, you find the thing where the companies that are trying to be deliberate about hiring female talent have that balance,
yes,
and then other companies don't. And when you walk into those companies that don't have that balance, the disparity is clear. You'd see like 20 men and you'd see only 3 women. in their dev teams, and you walk into these other companies and there's a balance of we have 10-10 or we have 11-9 or something, but then you go to other companies and it's like, where are the girls? But the girls are somewhere, but because the girls are not, for lack of a better word, enough, you don't see them everywhere, if that makes sense.
And a lot of times we cry foul about how most organizations don't want to employ female persons or female people who are qualified. But when you look back, most of us females sort of think, if you ask 10 women or 10 girls, 10 little girls what they want to be, I believe like the minority would mention anything connected to, tech. So maybe it comes down to, or do you think it comes down to how we raise the girls? Now just a normal household picture. You have a boy child and a girl child, and you're thinking of, what toys do I get my girl child? And what do you think of? Barbie toys. And then you're going to get something for your boy child. You're probably getting a toy, laptop, or something like that. So do you think like parents have a role in all of this? Is it a grooming from the home? Because we need to be available. We need to have the skill to fit in these positions so we can get an equalizing, the one we're actually searching for in the tech space.
I think so, and I don't think so at the same time. And it's very complicated. I'll tell you why. So the thing is, life is not black or white. I don't see it as a problem that a girl has a Barbie doll, and I played with Barbie dolls and I also played with computers. So I think it's more a mindset shift. And you're right in the sense that it starts with the child in that infancy stage, because it starts with them and they grow with that mentality, which goes back to what I said about having that mindset, which is something that we have to fix. At the end of the day, that's the most important thing for me. I believe that if you do the right things, like you said, you have to expose them to the right things so that they can get the right skills that they need to excel in these different domains. And right now, I don't think that parents do that pretty well. Even sometimes when you go to boarding school, for example, and you find yourself and you discover things you like, some parents even tend to discourage you. Like, I've had people tell their children that, don't study engineering, it's a man's course. And I'm I don't understand. When you go to a school and they give you a form that says Faculty of Engineering at the header, do you see in brackets for men only on it? I'm trying to understand where all of this come from. Yeah, and it goes back to the whole, everybody plays these particular gender roles and everybody does this, and at some point if you hire this woman now, she will get pregnant and she will leave your office, and this one and that one. But like, this is 2021, everybody should come to 2021. I don't know. It's just very weird for me. I think that the mindset shift is important for everyone, for parents, for the children, the boys, the girls, everybody, whatever you choose to identify as. A mindset shift is important, because if we don't have that reawakening, we're not going to get anywhere. How many seminars, how many webinars do you want to be organizing for the different causes and the different problems that exist in the corporate world and even outside the corporate world? If you're not organizing one for this one, next week is for another thing. Tomorrow is sustainable development goal. Next year is women empowerment. At what point do we stop? If there's no mindset shift, we're going to keep organizing these webinars. We just come there, we listen to people talking, we network, and we go away, and nothing will be done about the current situation. So I think it starts within us, within our homes. If you have a child, you should try to be egalitarian in some way. You should raise your children. Like, I know people that in their houses, the boys go to the kitchen and the girls wash car. It doesn't mean that the girls don't go to the kitchen as well and the boys don't wash car. But it's like, these are my children. I'm not trying to say this is my son and this is my daughter. These are my children, and I'm going to treat them like my children. And it makes these people grow up in some way that makes them see life differently. And I think that that's the most important thing.
I do not disagree with you at all, Adora. It then means that we need an increase in supply in female tech software engineers.
Yes.
But generally, software engineers, we do need an increase in supply, which brings me to this question now. How will this affect demand for their services?
I think that it doesn't really change anything because, like I said initially at the beginning, there's the innovation. So even if the supply is like increasing and you feel like, oh, then there are lots of software
will be massive
engineers, the competition will be massive, the industry is going to get saturated. I don't think so, because there might be a case of saturation actually happening, but I believe that if at all this is ever going to be the case, it's going to be the case at the beginner level. In a few years, when people grow into roles, this story might be different. But right now, a lot of people are looking for more engineers with experience to help them lead teams, to help them drive change. And even if there's even if a lot of people go into software engineering today, not everyone would have that level of experience to lead or drive that sort of change. So we're still going to have that there's an increasing demand for things. And even if at the end of the day there are many software engineers, there's still I believe personally that there's still going to be many things to come now and in the near future.
Yes.
So I don't think anytime soon, at some point, if the whole world decides to get into tech, then probably. But like right now, I don't think that there's going to be any saturation in the industry at that high level anytime soon.
So if you're listening right now, you're already giving yourself the excuse that a lot of persons are jumping on this thing, so I might not need to. Then that is not an excuse at all, right?
I don't think that's an excuse.
So let's talk about your most recent achievement. In March 2021, you won the Young CISO Network Excellence in Disruptive Technology. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Amazing one. So I want you to talk to us about your blog now, that's Adora Hack. Tell us what it's about. Tell us why we need to be we need to be in that space with you and what we can achieve from, being in that space with you.
Okay, so when I started Adora Hack, I started it because I wanted to share. I have that sense, I like to have that sense of, community and sharing knowledge and learning in public as well. So when I started the blog, I was sharing things that I was learning as I was learning them. That was the goal. But then I also wanted to start a YouTube channel around that time, but I know that I talk a lot. I like to talk. Anybody that knows me will know that. But I didn't think that I was confident enough to sit in front of a camera and speak and edit that video and post it. Even if 2 people watch it, I don't really care how many people were going to watch it. What was more important to me at that time was, am I able to do it at all? And then after almost a year of writing consistently, I decided to give the whole YouTube thing a try. And so if you go check my blog today, when I write, I focus on more technical stuff, explaining multi-threading, explaining a language, more technical engineering concepts. But in my blog, I just talk about things like, how to land the best role, as sharing software engineering stories, more social tech side, so that there's a balance, because I don't know how to write those sorts of things, so I'd rather talk about them. And as much as video tutorials are a thing, I haven't gotten to that point yet where I'm getting to that point because now people are beginning to ask for it, and in a few weeks or months I might drop my first actual tutorial. But I haven't gotten to that point yet mentally, because I need to be sure that I can do this thing first before I go ahead and do it. And I think that if you are someone that is trying to get into tech, I would advise you to check my blog and check my YouTube channel, among many others, if I'm being very honest. But I'm saying that because I was a beginner not too long ago. I'm not one of these 10 years of experience type people. my first internship, like my first real internship, was in 2016, which is like 5 years ago. And my first full-time job, I resumed January of 2018. So full-time experience is like, 3 years. And if you're counting my internship, then that's 5 years. So I've been in tech for approximately 5 years, right? Which is, a 5-year-old child is sharp nowadays, but let's be honest, they can't really do so much. So it's not like, I have 10, 15, 20 years experience. So I believe that in some way, I could be relatable to you. And as I'm learning things, I'm still learning a lot of things. And I believe that things I learn that I share are things that you can also learn from. So you can check it out if you're interested.
All right, so look out for that very new content you have in mind. So, yes, all eyes on Adora Hack. We've been talking of scaling a 21st century software engineering. And just before I let Adora go, we've said a lot already. But tell us, just to wrap it up, how do we improve the software engineering space? You've been in this space for over 5 years. What improvements do you think need to be, put in?
I don't want to shake any tables, so I'm going to try and be as subtle as possible. I think, let me go back to the whole mindset shift thing, which is great. I don't think that giving people courses is going to solve the pipeline problem that we have. Look at it. We get to a point where somebody in Nigeria works for 4 years, 5 years, 3 years sometimes, depending on how talented they are. And next thing is, the next thing you see on Twitter when you open it is that Igobi picture. I'm going, I'm moving to London, I'm moving to the US, I'm moving to Canada, I'm moving to Germany. And it's like we are losing these talented people. And a lot of them are leaving, new engineers are coming up. It's a cycle. Everyone, it's like, okay, software engineering has become a leave Nigeria fast scheme for a lot of people. It's like, okay, I enter software engineering and I'm able to leave fast. And as much as we're exporting talent globally, which is great for our reputation because of the bad reputation that Nigeria has generally, it's not good for tech businesses that exist in this region. And I know that a lot of things that happen are beyond some of the control of these businesses. A lot of things are tied to policies, a lot of things are tied to the government, a lot of things are tied to the economy. But at the same time, I think that some businesses can do better with the level of work because I've seen that people get discouraged when they feel like they're not learning anymore. They feel like they've overgrown the place. They feel like the pay isn't great enough for them. These are like the top 3 things that would make people leave. And we're trying to grow engineers. So even if you want to say, okay, have internship programs for these new engineers and all of that, if you hire interns and your leads are leaving, who is going to help you train these interns, if that makes sense? Who are these interns going to look up to within that office space? So I think what a lot of people need to think about, and this is my opinion, right? I think what a lot of people need to think about is, let's try, you can't keep everyone and that's fine. People will still leave. But let's try to make people comfortable enough to stay longer than they do normally. And then let's get interns and let's help. Because like I said, if there's going to be a saturation in tech anytime soon, it's going to happen at the beginner level. I'm seeing it already. There are a lot of people coming up with no guide, no one to train them. There are a lot of people enthusiastic with nothing to do, and there are just many. So at some point, if nothing is done about it, it could be a very big problem. So let's face those people. Let's face that demographic. Let's try to train as much as we can. Let's try to build and raise as much as we can. Let's put those people in positions, give them opportunities that make them build, at least on a small level first before they start to grow. And let's, as we're doing that and putting them in those spaces that help them build, let's give them people that can help them grow into who they're supposed to be as well. And if we're going to be able to give them people that can help them grow, those people have to exist in Nigeria.
They need to be here.
They need to be here. So if there's something that, if maybe anybody that owns a business currently is listening to this, if there's something that you can do to make your developers happy, to want to stay longer than they normally do it. I'm not saying that you wouldn't get, that's how you see that you're growing, right? It's good to hire people early and then have them grow with you, and that's great. But for them to grow with you, they have to be in an environment where they can grow. So we need to make it happen for them. That's what I'm going to say, because if I talk more, I'm going to get some people angry. And I don't know if I want to do that.
Well, it's okay. I think you said, just the right words. I think you've made a lot of sense, really. And we've been talking, you've heard from Adora herself. She is a software engineer, Microsoft, where she builds cloud services and high-value experiences related to artificial intelligence and mixed reality. Thank you so much. We've learned a lot from you this morning.
Thank you.
I do hope you'll be available for further conversations around this.
Okay, no problem. That's fine.